can't see my eyes, don't you? Does the glasses look too much? Do they look too much? Okay, well. Hi guys, for those who are watching already, or if you're not yet, it's fine. Okay. Hi again, and well, here on my place, yesterday was, oh, not yesterday, because it's already like Tuesday, so Valentine's Day was on Sunday, which was the other day. So yesterday, the day before yesterday, was Valentine's Day. But still, happy Valentine's for you all. And belated happy Valentine's. Hopefully you guys had a fun Valentine's Day. Should I remove the glasses? I kind of feel like wearing it, but hey. It looks funny because the ring light, you can see the ring light on it. So hi. Anyway, let's trash the idea of wearing the glasses. It makes me look like a bug. Anyway, this would be a short stream because I streamed late. It's already past midnight here because my phone didn't charge properly. And that's what I'm avoiding, to be honest, but oh well, it did happen already. We're just gonna read a lot of the chapters that we missed because we didn't stream I didn't stream last Friday, I guess. This drink is so good. Anyway, we need to check the audio again if it's trashy or whatnot. And if you're watching, hi, how was your day? How was your date, I guess? There's not even a beat. Wait, I'm just gonna check on the Twitch before we start, okay? I'm planning for this to be a quick stream so that I can still stream later on in the evening. And I'm still planning because in the mornings I get lazy, but around from noon until afternoon until the evening, I'm not as lazy. So I'm gonna try to stream maybe around the evenings before I sleep. On the morning. And the thing is, the schedule is too hard for me to think about. It does not make sense. What is this? These people are so cool. The ones I see on Twitch that they do DJing stuff. It's so cool. They're so cool. I wish I could do that. And I wish I have those better PCs and stuff, better room, better background, better camera. Blah blah. Anyway, let's not learn about those. Um, let's just try to do what we have, deal what we have. Hey, oh my gosh, people are. Hey, go to sleep, why up late? Hey, hey, Zone 5, thank you for dropping by. And it's fine, it's gonna be a short stream, don't worry. I'll just read some chapters from this one, and that's content. Yeah. Quick content. Oh. Oh, right. I didn't see the chats because I just opened the Twitch on the laptop just now. So anyway, the audio is fine. Wait, is the background? Hey, I'm too loud. That's it. It's not the background music. It's me. It's me who's loud. Alright. Well, you gotta have to deal with it. Ow. I think this ear is smaller than the other one. Anyway, let's proceed. Cause it's late. I know, Shin. It's my fault. Sorry. I guess I got hangover from Valentine's Day. I don't know. Too hangover with doing nothing the whole day. Eating and drinking a lot. Heck yeah. Alright, maybe this would be an hour stream maybe. Alright, well, I'll just read. Oh my gosh, that's too much. Let's put this here. I think that would be enough pages for us to read. And then, yeah, I think we're gonna read up until chapter 28. From 21 to 28, okay? Are you guys ready to get sleepy? Because I am. And it's a good habit, I guess, to read before sleeping. Because you read. I don't know the right time for reading. I just think I don't know. I still use the gadgets though. Because people read books before bed so that they would be easier to get sleepy, right? But I'm reading and then looking at the phone. Oh no. Well, we're just gonna have to deal with it then. It's my content. Okay. Anyway, let's go and read. So we are on the Let's Read episode 7. And like always, you can definitely check on my channel for the first few episodes before this if you want to really start from the beginning of the book. And yeah, I think some episodes will be epic to listen to. Is warning. there will be some words that I couldn't pronounce properly, and we're just gonna have to deal with it, okay? Because, like I've said, I'm not from the US. I'm from Philippines. A toxic, toxic, toxic country. Anyway, yeah, that is all. So we're gonna start, okay? So, you start already. All right. All right. So, I'm just gonna remove this. Chapter 21. 1969. You gonna cook those eggs? Said the woman in the van. She wore blue eyeshadow, her lips were glossed, and 3 necklaces draped around her neck. Cook them? Frankie looked at the carton. Yes. Where? He pointed in the direction of the music, or what he thought was the direction of the music. Back there. Where are you from? Me? Yeah, handsome. She smiled. You. Normally, when someone asked this, Frankie said California. This time, he said Spain. Far out, the woman cooed. You came to hear music? To play it? On stage? Yes. You're a long way from the stage. I have these eggs. You said that. For breakfast. Are you really from Spain? See. You're funny. He felt his knees wobble. He steadied himself against the van door. Why don't you come in? Where? Next to me. Frankie stepped inside. He would only stay a minute, he told himself. How did you get here? She asked. I walked from the store. No, she laughed. You said you're from Spain. How'd you get here? She spread her arms. America. Frankie dropped his head against a large embroidered pillow. He watched her roll a cigarette. With a band, he said. And that's the chapter 21st. 21. That was quick. That was weird as well. Maybe because he's drugged. Anyway, let's just proceed to chapter 22. Okay? No one's... Is anyone gonna say something? You there? Hi. How are you? Anyone? 1, 2, 3? Alright, anyway. Let's start the chapter 22. 1946. The Ellington Band toured for 3 months. During that time, Frankie saw the first cow out the train window, his first hand-dipped ice cream cone, and his first American movie theater. He continued to learn the gypsy guitar techniques from the Django, and perfect the Spanish-French language they forged together. He also learned that the Django's baby was named Jimmy, and that he died after living only a few weeks, and that the Django chose Bach and Handel and Mozart to be played at the funeral mass, and that the little boy was buried in a French cemetery. It was the second time he heard about a proper burial. Aurora York had told him of the first. And he thought about seeing where his mama was buried when they got to Detroit. He also learned that the Django was ready to cancel what would prove to be his only trip to America until Frankie had agreed to go. The idea of traveling with a boy made the journey after his son's death more bearable. I can see all futures, the ones my talents will make and the ones they will turn away from, just as I can hear all melodies on a keyboard, those played and those yet unplayed. And I can tell you, had Frankie not been there, Django would never have experienced America, or the way it influenced his life and art. This is why Frankie's bottom string turned blue when they met. But we will return to that. First, the opening night. When they reached Cleveland, Django was forced to buy a new guitar for the concert, which made him furious. "This is travesty," he told Frankie as he tuned the new instrument. "Why they not have a guitar for me, a Selmer, as I love? I am Django. They should give me a guitar of gold." "You can play mine," Frankie said. "Yes?" He put down the new one and took the instrument from Frankie. After plucking a few notes, he stopped. "It's perfect. Did you tune already?" "Yes, sir." Django studied Frankie. "I will play your guitar tonight and show them who I am. But I will give it back and you must never let it go. Never sell it, never lose it. Never give it to someone and hope it returns. Don't let go of your music, Chavo, or you will let go of yourself." "Yes, Mr. Django." That night, from the wings of the stage at the Cleveland Music Hall, Frankie experienced something that would stay with him forever. The first blast from an orchestra, the syncopated punches of a horn section, the elegant twirling of clarinets and saxophones, the dragging power of trombones and basses. Even the look of the band, the uniformity of them all, handsomely dressed in dark tuxedos, made an impression. And the crowd, nearly 2,000 people. Their roaring ovation was a response Frankie never imagined. It jolted into him, spreading through his bloodstream. He did not understand the physics of applause, but he knew from that moment that he wanted to hear it for himself one day. Hi, someone commented again. Hyper. SN Hyper. Hey, what's up? Hi! I'm just reading from this book. It's just something I want to share. And if you're up, you can definitely listen. Or tune up. So yeah, we're in the middle of chapter 22nd. Okay. Alright. Django did not come out until the end, and was accompanied only by Duke Ellington on the piano and the bass player who tried to follow. There had been almost no rehearsal, but someone once said of Reinhardt, "He is music made man." And I accept the compliment. He was one of my prizes. His playing that night on Frankie's well-traveled guitar was so remarkably original, even the band members were yelling, "Go to it, master, go to it." He did 4 songs, each one making a bigger impression than the one before. The next morning in the hotel, The Django asked Frankie to find a newspaper and read him anything that was written about him. Frankie turned the pages until he saw a headline: French guitar artist steals Duke's concert. Ooh, that's bad, the Django said, sipping his coffee, as it should be. Their time together was so eventful and so fast that years later it would feel to Frankie more like a dream than a memory. But one night in the city of Chicago, Frankie watched the band setting up and noticed the bass drum featured a drawing from RCA Victor record label, a dog staring into a gramophone. Frankie's stomach went weak. He thought of the hairless dog and the phonograph in El Maestro's flat. He thought of all the parts of his life he had left behind. He was suddenly and profoundly sad. The trip was exciting, but he was still a child, and all children eventually want to go home. When the tour reached Detroit, he set out to do it. And that's the end of chapter 22nd. Yay! Oops, yay! Anyone? 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 Ah, this drink. Ah, it's so nice. If you're wondering, it's a pomelo drink. Pomelo juice with Sprite. Good. It's good. It tastes good. I'm not sponsored, okay? Why would I be? Oh my god. Sorry. Okay. Going back. Anyone? Anyone? Anyone has a comment? Well, that the Django person was really looking high onto himself. I don't know why. What's these? Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Chapter 23. 1969. The woman in the van ran her tongue over her teeth. That is such a mind-blowing story, she said. You just traveled all over when you were a kid? With Duke Ellington? Yeah, so cool. She dragged on her rolled cigarette, then handed it to him. She leaned over his legs. I want to see this guitar. She undid the clasp and opened the case. Careful, Frankie mumbled. Why careful? It does strange things. Like what? Magic, stuff like that. She grinned. You're funny. I'm not. I think you are. Frankie looked at his hand. It seemed huge. The smoke left him blinking. The woman slid closer. Take one of these. What is it? A lemon. Don't you like lemons? She put a small green pill in his mouth, then swallowed one herself. She curled up against him. What's with the eggs? My wife. They're for my wife. I have a wife. We're having a baby. Where is she? I don't know. You don't know? At the stage. She smiled. Then, she's not here, is she? She put her face close to his. What happened next? Next, the story. After you left the band. I don't remember. Try. Frankie closed his eyes. It was cold. And that's the end of chapter 23. Woo, the chapters here are too fast. Not like the other ones we first read. But hey, we're we're having progress. We're almost half the book. See? These chapters are fast. What about the next parts? They're probably more faster. I mean shorter. Shorter? Faster? I don't know. I'm reading it probably too fast. Should I do it slower? Anyone? Don't know. I think I'm reading it too fast. Or is it the chapters are too short? I don't know. Alright, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Let's go to chapter 24. Chapter 24, 1946. It was cold. The snow was falling. Frankie tugged on the wool jacket the Django had bought him and adjusted his thighs on the concrete stoop. At this point, he had been in America for October, November, and part of December. He didn't know how people lived in such weather. Once again, for the thousandth time, he opened his guitar case and took out the piece of cloth with an address written in Baff's handwriting. The address of his sister. 467 Claret Street, Detroit, Michigan. Frankie had already knocked many times. No one had answered. He'd been waiting on the steps most of the afternoon. The Django had offered to come with him, but Frankie, quite bold in his independence by this point, told the guitarist his aunt would likely want to hear all about Baffa, so he would be there for a while. And she would probably want him to live with her until she could get him back to Spain. If this is so, you must come to say goodbye, Chavo, the Django said. We leave tomorrow, yes? Okay, Frankie said. He tugged on his coat. The small brick house resembled others on the block. Each had a short, straight driveway, like frets lining a guitar neck, with parked cars collecting snow. Big cars, long cars. It seemed to Frankie that everyone in America had a vehicle, unlike Villarreal, where people still used carts and horses. Frankie closed his eyes and pictured Baffa's house on Calvario Street, sitting in the garden, listening to the radio, the hairless dog by his side. He remembered those days as warm and sweet. Are you lost, son? Frankie opened his eyes. A mailman with a blue uniform and a large leather bag was in front of him. Snowflakes dotted the brim of his cap. No, sir. What are you doing? I'm waiting. In the snow? Yes. Who for? My aunt. Frankie held out a piece of cloth. Well, you got the right house. She's your aunt, huh? Yes, sir. How'd you get here? Mr. Django paid a car. You mean a taxi? I think so. Does she know you're coming? I'm late. Were you supposed to be here this morning? Frankie shifted on the concrete. Later than that. The man pressed his lips together, considering the boy in front of him. He handed over several envelopes. Want to give them their mail? Frankie took the letters. Stay warm, the man said. They should be home from work any minute. Who was they? Frankie thought. He watched the man finish his route, stopping at every house, until he couldn't see him anymore. It grew dark. Frankie wondered if he'd have to sleep here. Just then, a pale green Chevrolet turned down the street with its headlights on. As it slowed, Frankie's heart sped up. Stop here. He wheeled it silently. Stop here. Stop here. It stopped. Frankie rose. He did not truly understand the purpose of an aunt, having never had one before. But since the moment he'd read El Maestro's note in the hull of that ship, he had been waiting to meet her, hoping she would fix things and get him back home, reunite him with his original band. What he saw changed all that. What he saw was the car doors open, and a man stepped out of one side, and a plump woman with light hair stepped out of the other. Frankie had seen her face before, countless times, in a photograph with her arm around Baffa, a photograph he'd kept under his pillow. A chill ran through his young body, and a cymbal crashed inside his head. He dropped the letters, leaped from the stoop, and as the woman's mouth fell open in confusion, he ran across the snow-dusted grass with his arms held high, screaming, "Mama!" This book, goodness me. In Western music, things resolve. A suspended fourth moves back to the third. A diminished chord slides to its tonic. Dissonance to consonance. I make peace that way. Humans follow no such rules. So that night on Claret Street, Danza Rubio, the woman who'd stepped out of the pale green Chevrolet, was startled by the boy running toward her. And having had no contact with her brother, Baffa, for many years, she was suspicious at the sudden appearance of a child. She stood motionless when Frankie tried to hug her. And when he exclaimed, "I am your son," and told her the story Baffa had told him about his wife, the car accident in America, she grew angry and broke the truth to Frankie right there in the street, like a series of hard room shots on a snare drum. Thwack! She was not his mother. Thwack! She was not Baffa's wife. Thwack! Baffa never had a wife. Thwack! He could never get a wife. Thwack! He had never been to America. Thwack! There was no accident. Thwack! There was no graveside. Thwack! Baffa was a liar. Thwack! He hadn't spoken to her in years. black. She assumed he was dead. All of this took less than 3 minutes. Each blow stunned Frankie into deeper silence. By the end, when Dance's husband gruffly interjected, "Look, boy, we're not giving you any money, if that's what you'd expect." The dazed child left his jaw trembling. Felt his jaw trembling. Sorry. It took all he had to grab his guitar case and run. Danza yelled after him, but he did not turn back. He disappeared into falling snowflakes under pools of lamplight, tears rolling down his cheeks. I have said that music allows for quick creation, but it is nothing compared with what you humans can destroy in a single conversation. Ouch. That was so sad. Why? Why? This book. This book is ridiculous. Holy smokes. Ay, ay, ay. Why? Why did they need to ruin this like this way? He was hoping so much. It could have gone well, but the woman. Ow. The woman did not want him. Well, she gave the truth right away. But they didn't even talk to Frankie because he was just a kid. Why would you do that? That's so mean. Anyway, next one we will read is... Okay, well, let's click on this one real quick. I burped. Sorry. Alright, well, we're gonna need to read the next one. But this one is like a testimony from a person again. So this is from Burt Bacharach, songwriter, performer, composer, producer. Frankie Presto loved the studio. He would have lived in there if they'd had a bed. Oh, sure. My name is Burt Bacharach. America, Los Angeles. But I met Frankie in New York. I produced his song Our Secret back in 1964. Great ballad. Did a reverb thing on his voice that made it eerie. And the string part came up with. Frankie and I were from different parts of the world, but we had one thing in common. We didn't leave a studio until it was perfect. Some musicians don't like that. I keep them there for 20 takes, 30 takes. But what's the point in making art if it isn't right? Frankie got that, you know. He was a beautiful soul. And if I had known he was still playing guitar, I would have flown around the world to hear it. I really had no idea where he'd gone, or if he was still alive, until I heard about him dying a few days ago. Sorry. Was it really on stage? My god, that's awful. The first time I heard him play? Yes, I do. That's really how we met. I was at Bell Sound Studios in New York before a recording session with Dionne Warwick. I got there early, and the big room was empty except for this one guy who had his back to us. He wore headphones and was leaning over an electric guitar. I asked the engineer to bring up the sound, but before I could tell the guy to get out, I was frozen. His playing was incredible. He was switching between classical riffs and the jazz tune. Body and soul. I said, "Who the hell is this?" And the engineer said, "You won't believe it. That's Frankie Presto." And I said, "The singer?" And he said, "The singer plays a mean guitar." I guess he had been cutting a record just before us, and everyone had left, but he'd stayed in there another 2 hours, messing around on all the instruments, moving from the drums to the piano to the guitars. My guys were coming in now, so I clicked on the room microphone and said, "Hey, sorry to interrupt, genius, but we're on the clock." He pulled off the headphones and waved like he was apologizing. I said over the speaker, "That was fantastic. You should have blasted it all over the building." And he leaned into the mic and said, "I was just messing around." He came out and I introduced myself, and he knew who I was right away, which surprised me, because I wasn't recording back then, just writing. But he said he really liked some things I'd done. "Baby It's You" by the Shirelles, and "Only Love Can Break a Heart," the Gene Pitney song. He said something about trumpets and flugelhorns, which was unusual for a rock and roll guy. So I said, "Where did you learn about horn sections?" And he said, "Traveling with Duke Ellington." And I laughed and said, "What were you, his water boy?" I mean, he was way too young for Duke. He was taller than I thought, and very striking. When the band guys came in, they were staring at him. He had a presence, you know. And he was wearing a bright red sports coat, which didn't hurt. When I told him we were recording Dionne Warwick, he said he loved her voice and asked if he could stay. Normally, I don't like outside distractions when I work, but Frankie had a good vibe, you know? He was musical. You could feel it. So I said, "You can hang out here in the booth if you want." And he said okay. The song we were doing was for a movie called "A House Is Not a Home." Hal David wrote the lyrics. I wrote the music. To be honest, we were re-recording it because Brooke Benton had done the original, but I wanted Dionne to take a shot at it. We did a lot of takes with a full orchestra, string section, background singers. Like I said, that's how I worked. And I sort of forgot about Frankie sitting back there. Then, during a playback, I happened to turn around as Dionne was singing the part. "But a room is not a house, and a house is not a home. when the two of us are far apart and one of us has a broken heart. I saw Frankie crying. "You alright?" I said. "Yeah," he said. But you could see it got to him. He didn't even wipe away the tears. I didn't learn until much later that he was an orphan. No mother, no father. A house is not a home. No wonder, right? Could there be a tougher thing to hear? And that's the end of that chapter. For half an hour, I thought someone's talking to me in VC. No, I'm not there. I'm here. You can mute the stream if you want. Just kidding. Sorry for that, Shin. Don't worry, I'm just making you feel sleepy, okay? We're just gonna read for a little bit more until we reach about 1 hour, I guess. And I would like to say hello for those who are just dropping by just now, I guess. Hi. I'm just sharing the book that I have. That's why I have these let's read episodes. So hopefully you like this, guys. Hopefully. And like I've said already in the uh, other or earlier, you can check out the first parts of the book on my channel. You can definitely check from let's read episode 1 to 6. Then you can go back here if you want. Anyway, so yeah. Of course. Aw, that was sad. Well, let's continue to chapter 25 now. Are you guys ready? Ready? Alright, let's go. Chapter 25. 1950. "Did you hear me?" The nun yelled. I said, "Line up." The children lined up. "Now move." They marched to the cafeteria. A tall boy shoved Frankie in his back. "Knock it off," Frankie whispered. "Make me," the taller kid said. At this point in our story, Frankie was either 13 or 14. He hadn't decided. Once he discovered that Baffa was not his real papa, Frankie ignored the birth date he'd been told, figuring that was sly as well. "Begin," the nun barked. The children, standing by cafeteria tables, recited their prayers out loud. Then they sat down, and the nuns poured orange juice into their glasses, followed by spoonfuls of cod liver oil. "It tastes horrible," one boy complained. "Be grateful you have it. Drink." Frankie lifted the juice to his lips, and the sweet smell brought back memories of Villarreal, the orange carts rolling down the streets. But such memories only made Frankie angry now. Baffa was never his father. The woman in the photo was never his mother. His only identification papers listed him as Presto, a name he didn't even know. It was all a lie. There was nothing sweet about oranges anymore. At this point, people best describe as mozo, or agitated. He'd been living for 3 years in the Greater Detroit Catholic Home for Orphans, sharing a bedroom with 9 other boys. He had been taken there when the police discovered him sleeping in an alley behind a restaurant, after he'd missed the train that took the Django and the Ellington band to their next stop. By the time Frankie found a way to the station, they were gone. He sat and cried, his elbows on his guitar case, until a man in a uniform told him he couldn't sit there anymore and should go home to your mother. He returned to begging and eating from trash cans. The ones behind the restaurant offered the best scraps. He was actually surprised when the police found him. He'd become quite skilled at hiding from authorities, but was happy when the nuns said he'd get his own bed. He accepted their blue pants and white shirt and black leather shoes, and he didn't even mind when they threw away his old clothes, saying that, unlike his soul, they were beyond salvation. Frankie had been scrawny when he'd arrived, but in 3 years he'd sprouted into a lanky teenager with prominent white teeth, large hands, a great boost to his guitar playing, and a deep set to his blue eyes that drew nervous smiles from the girls in his class. The boys were another matter. Children in orphanage take note of the slightest preference, and the other boys hated that Frankie played the guitar so well that the nuns let him accompany them in Christmas and Easter ceremonies, or that he got private time in the library each night to work on his music. He was different, so they looked for ways to mock him, like the slight accent that still tinged his English. "Hey, speak," they would tease. "No, speak the language? Hey, coconut, are you brown or white? Hey, Gippo, tell us about your gypsy friend again." One night, the tall boy, named Raphael, handed out cupcakes after his birthday celebration. He deliberately skipped over Frankie. They don't eat in the alley where you came from," he whispered. "I don't want your cupcake," Frankie said, "if it makes me as dumb as you." Instantly, they were scuffling on the floor. The other boys cheered and whooped. Frankie socked Raphael in the eye, and Raphael howled. He pushed Frankie down, ran to Frankie's bed, reached beneath it, and pulled out Frankie's guitar. Frankie jumped on him, and they wrestled, the guitar slamming around between them. By the time they were separated, Frankie saw the bottom string had snapped, the same string that had once turned blue on the British docks. Frankie burst into tears, screaming, "I'll kill you! I'll kill you!" He tackled Raphael again and had to be restrained by the woman from the cafeteria. As punishment, both boys were forced to sleep on the floor that night. Raphael in the rectory, Frankie in the kitchen. Frankie stared at the ceiling and felt an emptiness that he'd never felt before, but not because of the fight. Until that moment, his strings had never broken. This was quite unusual, seeing that guitar strings often break after a few months of use. Frankie figured it was because he had played carefully, even gently, as his teacher had taught him. Do not attack the strings, Francisco. No, maestro. Coax them. Yes, maestro. Make them hunger for your next note. Same as in life. In life, maestro? When you want someone to listen to you, will you attack them? No, maestro. No, you will not. You will make them hear the beauty of what you are offering, and they will want it for themselves. Frankie missed those lessons. He even missed lighting El Maestro's cigarette. Django had suggested. And now someone had broken one. That night, Frankie could not sleep. He thought about El Maestro. He thought about Aurora York, the girl in the tree, and he wondered if his teacher was right. Had she been a fairy? It seemed so long ago. He did not often pray by himself, since the nuns were always leading them in prayer someplace. But he closed his eyes and asked God if he could please go home to Spain. He was tired of America. He crawled under a long table and lay on his side, humming, "How Great Thou Art." Minutes later, his eyes opened. He heard a scratching noise from outside the building. He pulled a chair to the wall and climbed to the window above the sink. At the sight of something out in the alley, his face changed, and he quickly pushed the window open and wedged himself through, falling to the ground. What happened next may seem incredible. I can only tell you it is true. Frankie opened his eyes to feel the wet tongue of the hairless dog licking his cheeks. Oh, that's the end of chapter 25, okay? That was incredible. Like it said here. That was surprising. Wait, that dog? How did it get there? How? Like how? For reals. Well, oh my god. I think we need to adjust it. I'll just read one more chapter. Okay? Because like I'm saying, it was supposed to be a short one. Alright. Here we go. Chapter 26. We should speak about those strings. You know that they came from Carmencita, Frankie's beautiful, dark-haired mother. You know that she intended them for her husband, El Maestro, who was really Frankie's father. You know that they sat unused for 9 years, inside a purse in El Maestro's closet. until he gave them to Frankie the day the boy left Spain. What you do not know is where Carmencita acquired them, or from whom. It happened on the last morning of her life. Sleep had been restless, the unbirthed child stirring inside her. Carmencita rose with the dawn, dressing quietly, so as not to wake her husband. She pulled on a shawl, and walked toward the Mijares River. A mist hung over the earth, washing all colors in a filmy white. It was so thick she almost didn't see a gypsy family sitting on the riverbank. The man had large ears and thinning hair. The woman next to him seemed older. Behind them was a little girl with long auburn braids. She was brushing a horse. "God be with you, Senora," the man said. These were dangerous words during the war, but Carmencita replied, "God be with you as well." Your Carmen put her hand on her belly. "I brought no money," Carmencita said. "We are not selling these things," the man replied. "We are giving them away. My husband thinks of others. We have no need for them. He is a man of God. I am but a horse trader." "They want to kill him, Senora." The woman began to cry. Carmencita lowered her hand from her belly. So many in her country were like this, fleeing from one side to the other. The war was ruining lives. Her husband had lost his eyes. Her children disappeared. Priests were being hunted, like families. She wondered about the world her baby was about to enter. "You can stay with us if you wish," Carmencita said. The gypsies looked at each other. "Where?" "In our home. We do not have much room, but you are welcome." "But we are strangers to you." "Tell me your names, and you will not be strangers." The man smiled. Does a name make such a difference?" "Of course not," Carmencita replied. She knew in war it was sometimes better not to know a name. "Thank you, kind woman," the man said, "but we could not endanger you that way." He held his wife's hand and summoned their daughter, who put down the horsebrush. "We have little to offer in return for your generosity, but perhaps a song?" The child began to sing, a soft gypsy melody. "Such a pretty voice," Carmencita said. "You enjoy music?" the man asked. "My husband is a guitarist." "As am I, or was. I would play songs to the Lord. Sadly, my guitar is gone." "Take him," his wife said. "I'm sorry," Carmencita said. "Your husband, will he teach your child to play?" "It is all he speaks about." "Then you must have these." He reached into the box and removed a set of strings, coiled together by a yellow band. They seemed brand new, almost shiny. "I could not," she protested, "for your kindness." "It is not Please." to connect the child and the father. They are special strings. He lowered his voice. They have lives inside them. His wife slapped his arm. He means they were made from silk, and the silk came from worms, and the worms were once alive. She gave him a harsh look. Do not speak in riddles. He smiled and rocked back and forth. When his wife turned to tend to the horse, he leaned in toward Carmencita. I don't mean worms, he whispered. He removed from his pocket a rosary with simple black beads and a small black cross. Carmencita realized the rosary was held together by a guitar string, like the ones he'd just handed her. As he pulled on both ends, the string began to glow blue, like the inside of a flame. Le deux vas salaven pe, he said, a gypsy expression that translates to the hands wash each other, meaning we are all connected. When his wife approached, the man stuffed the rosary back in his pocket. He gazed at the white sky. Best to be on your way, Senora. Are you certain you won't come? God will protect us, as I pray He protects you. I will light a candle for your family at the Basilica. San Pascual? Do you know it? The man's eyes grew far away. We were there once, with our daughter. Be mindful. These are dangerous times for prayer. Carmencita looked at the strings. May I ask your name? She said. Even if it does not matter? He is known as El Pele, the wife said. Carmencita walked into the mist. A minute later, she turned, but they were gone. Okay. On her way home, Carmencita put the strings inside a small purse, planning to give them to El Maestro upon the birth of their child. That night, during the storm, she had the purse with her in the cathedral, where she went to light a candle not only for the baby, but for the gypsy family she had met that morning. She said her prayers, fell over in pain, dropped the purse, and never saw it again. Never saw the rack of candles overturned by the raiders. Never saw the fire from her lighted prayer candles join the larger fire, consuming everything in its path. The next day, when the police in Villarreal searched through the ruins, they found the charred remains of Carmencita's badly burned corpse. The raiders, having assumed she was a nun due to the tunic that draped her, had desecrated her body. It was too gruesome to identify, and her bones were quickly buried in an unmarked grave. 2 days later, a teenage boy was scavenging through the wreckage. He found a small purse, which had inexplicably survived the flames. Inside was an identification card. The boy returned the purse to the listed address, handing it to the person who answered the door. A tall man, I mean, a tall, blind man named Carlos Andres Presto, better known as El Maestro. He grabbed the purse and stumbled to a chair. He realized that what this meant, why his wife had not returned in 3 days. He spilled the contents on the wooden table. He felt a coiled object. "What is this?" he asked the boy. "It looks like strings." "For the guitar?" "Yes." El Maestro bit his lip. "Leave me alone, now." The boy left quickly. Holding the undelivered gift, his wife's final kindness, El Maestro broke down. He wept until nightfall, never leaving the chair. Then he put everything back inside the purse and hid it in a closet. Those strings with the lives inside them remained unused for years, just as the story of the stranger's kindness remained untold. Weeks later, the man known as El Pele rushed to help a priest who was being beaten by Republic soldiers. He was arrested and ordered to surrender his rosary. When he refused, a firing squad shot him. The killers saw his body crumple, but they did not see something else. The rosary, at the moment of his death, turning a burning shade of blue. Decades later, El Pele would be canonized by the Catholic Church as its first gypsy saint. People still speak about his courage, his humility, and of course, that rosary. No one mentions the strings he gave away. They would tell a story of their own. That's the end of that chapter. Oh my gosh. Oh no. No. Oh my gosh, that almost got me. That chapter almost got me. No. No, no, no. I won't fail that easily. Whew. Whew, whew. Good thing that chapter did not last for more than those number of pages, because I wouldn't be able to handle that. Oh my gosh, the story is so exhilarating, I guess. I like those kind of stories where they're like, they would be connected in some way, even just a little, a little connection. But that would be a big story. This book is really good. And if you want to see, the book also has these blue strings, which is really cool. They shine a little bit when the light hits. See? And whenever I read the blue strings in the book, the color of the strings, I always picture these colors. This color. So it was cool. Alright, well, I guess that would be all for this stream. Hope you liked the book, and don't worry, we will still be streaming later in the evening. I really, really need to fix my schedule. I need a solid schedule. And hopefully, I will get to do that today. Hopefully. It's already almost 2 a.m. Oh my god. Alright, anyway, thank you very, very much for staying up, staying with me, staying on the stream. Alright, and again, hope you had a wonderful Valentine's. Happy Valentine's still. And yeah, see you on the next stream, guys. Thank you very much. Bye. Good night or good morning. Bye, guys. Thank you very, very much for listening or hanging out. Bye, guys. See you later.